everyone, this is going to be a little bit of a follow-up to the purchasing decisions video I made about crystals. Now, I talked about how I decide whether I want to bring a new crystal into my crystal family, but I also mentioned that I kind of have 6 staple crystals that I use for almost everything in my craft. Whenever I do a spell, whenever I want to meditate with a crystal, I have 6 crystals that are like my go-tos out of my collection. So let me run you through which crystals they are and how I use them. The first pair of crystals that I want to talk about are these 2 crystal quartz points. Not only do they look really great on my altar in my sacred space, but I also use them quite frequently to either lay down a crystal grid around me while I meditate, or I hold them like this, so that one point kind of points inside towards me and one point points outside. So while I meditate, I kind of have like a crystal current that I visualize going through me, especially when I feel really tired, when I have to lie down, but I shouldn't lie down because I have stuff to do. I often use these 2 to kind of imagine some energy coming back into me. The bad going out, the good coming in. You all know how it is. And yeah, some basic energy work that I do with them, but also I do use them decoratively quite intensely because they just make a wonderful kind of symmetrical pattern on my sacred space. The next one I want to, ow, I hit my arm on one of my crystals. We'll get to that one later, it's quite large. The next one I want to talk about is my little apophyllite. Now, apophyllite crystals, I saw this in a video, to be honest, and just thought like I have to have that. It's one of those crystals where I was definitely triggered into buying it because someone used it for a specific thing and I wanted to be a part of that. What I love about this one is that it is perfect for scrying, even though it is very tiny, because it has a lot of like mirrored surfaces within itself that you can just gaze at forever, essentially. And that is what I do quite often. This is one of the crystals that I stare at the most, for sure. That is mainly how I use it, to kind of make myself happy almost, because all of the glittering, the colors, the mirroring, it makes me very happy to see that. So that is the apophyllite. Then next, as the 4th crystal, I have my amethyst. I really enjoy using it for activating my intuition. So sometimes when I feel kind of disconnected from the world, I will lie down with this, put it on my forehead, put it in my head, take a nap with it. As you can see, I use crystals quite a lot to relax and to kind of revitalize myself with their energy. And also, I do love to keep this around during tarot readings, just like my apophyllite. This is a true staple for connecting to my intuition. And I have also path worked with this, which means I actively meditate with it, hold it in my hand, and kind of imagine walking across the crystal, because it looks like a beautiful little mountain. It also has a lot of little mirrory surfaces that shine in purple and dark purple and reddish tones, and it is quite good for path working in that way. Now, the second to last crystal that I want to show you is this good old chunk. Yes. So after I decided that I only wanted to purchase ethically sourced crystals that is actually from around where I live and was mined here, it came with an incredibly old piece of paper that had like old writing on it, like typewriter, but in the more, it wasn't the letters as we know them today. I don't know what you call those letters, but I think it said it was mined sometime either in the late 19th century, or was it mid-20th? I don't know, but it was definitely more than like 50, 60 years ago that this was mined, and it probably spent a lot of that time in the crystal shop that I went to. And essentially, it is a fluorite mixed with orthoclase. When I bought this, I went into the shop because I really wanted a symbol for my path with letting go of my analytical mind and tuning more into a magical, connected, spontaneous mindset rather than being very planny and analytical and critical of things. So I felt called to this. I purchased it. The good thing is also that because it was mined close to me, it is not super expensive because there's no export, no import, and it just feels good. You know what I mean? And it is, fluorite and orthoclase. And as I was looking up the meaning of these crystals, I realized also that it very perfectly reflected what I was going for. Because one of the stones is associated with more of a working mentality, analytical mentality, and the other one is more focused on the intuitive side of things. And kind of bringing that together into a nice marriage of the two, especially at my workplace, especially kind of bringing spirituality into my everyday life, that was very important to me. So it fit perfectly. By the way, the only bad thing about turquoise lipstick is that it makes your teeth look yellow, because the color difference, it's just not good. So if my teeth look yellow, yeah, sorry about that. I just really like this lipstick. And now, lastly, we have this one that I believe is an agate. My mother gave this to me. I believe she bought it for me many, many, many years ago. I kind of forgot about it for quite a long time, but as I got more into my spiritual practice again, I started realizing that the symbol on it, the little pattern on it, it has a very specific shape, if you know what I mean. I don't know if YouTube will punish me if I say that word, so I'm not saying it, not because I have an issue with saying it, but I really don't know if YouTube likes that. So I basically use that during my menstrual cycle. So I usually put it on my uterus, or I put it close to that area so that it can kind of help me with cramps. It is just present, helps me be accepting of what is going on with my blood flow, with my moon time, with my menstruation. You know how it is. And it is very helpful in that way. It is basically the stone that I keep around then, that I keep as a little bit of a comforter. And even outside of my menstruation period, I also use it to connect with femininity, because, using it regularly once a month, infusing it with that energy, the rest of the month, it still has that vibe, it still has that energy, because I believe in it and because I infused it with it. So I do like using that in that way. So I would love to hear about your crystals, because I feel like it is super important, as I said in the other video, that we honor the crystals we have and that we see how many different uses they have, that we see how we can relate to them in ever-changing new ways if we really want to. We don't always need to purchase a crystal. And I have not purchased a crystal in probably a year at this point. And even if I buy a gift, I make sure that it's ethically sourced, that it's from around here, and make sure that I have a good feeling buying it. So if you want to hear more about how I make those buying decisions, then feel free to watch my other video. I will link it below. I will also put links to my Patreon, to my tarot offerings, to all of the good things. So have the greatest of days, the greatest of weeks, and I will see you very soon.